I have no idea what we were talking about before break, but that's okay. Look, I suppose we should talk about this phenomenal piece of work, A Guide to Australian Snakes in Captivity, Elapids and Colubrids, by our wonderful guest, Mr. Scott Eipper. So look, this came around when like a lot of this information was kind of out and scattered all over the place, right? There wasn't really a place that had brought it all together into one thing for people keen to get into, you know, keeping, breeding, stuff like that, right?
Yeah. So what happened was Danny Brown up on the Sunshine Coast, he was talking with the publisher about doing a lizard book. And so the publisher turned around and goes, well, yeah, that's all well and good, but we want to do ones about snakes and frogs and turtles and everything. So Danny rings me up and goes, you know how you reckon you're going to write a snake book? And I go, yeah. And he goes, I've got a publisher, are you interested? And I'm like, fuck yes, let's do it.
Nice.
So 2 weeks later, we've got a meeting with the publisher and deadlines and stuff like that, and started working on this book. And so I set out, basically the first thing I did is when I roughed out the book, I roughed out the headings of what I wanted, and then I was like, right, well, what do I actually want to see in a book? And what did I want when I was getting into it? And so I put my hat on when I was sort of 10, 15 years old about the information I was looking for when I'm looking to keep a species and stuff like that. And then basically go through the literature like a fiend and try and chase up references to everything, as well as then using my experience as a keeper as well. So it's a bit of a conglomerate of both of those things, and then also using other people that I knew over the years to come and give me some assistance with certain things. The most important thing, though, about that particular book and the frog book that I did as well, and the other books in the series, is that they all had peer reviewers. Okay, I cannot sort of reiterate how important the peer review process was.
So there'll be a lot of pet keeping books that you'll see at pet shops, which don't have to go through a peer review process. This technically doesn't have to go through a but it has been through one.
Like
It's just so the anybody any potential audience for it can know that other people other than just the author have had their eyes on it to confirm that what is in there is.
I suppose the other thing as well too, there was a couple of other things that I was pretty adamant about, and I said this to the publisher right from the start, is that if we're going to have a veterinary chapter, I want it authored by a veterinarian.
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay? I'm not a fucking vet.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not any way qualified that I should be speaking on veterinary subjects.
Yeah.
Okay, I've got an understanding, okay, but at the same time, I certainly shouldn't be authoring that. So, and there's a whole legal liability side of things there as well. So it's you know what, I'm going to go the right way here. So Rob Johnson from Sydney came on board with that, and he authored that. And then same thing when it comes to, in my case, venomous snakebite and venomations. I did write the chapter on that, and then that was peer reviewed by Dr. Kim Winkle, who was the director of the Australian Venom Research Unit down in CSL, University of Melbourne down in Victoria there. And so we went through afterwards, and he made sure that everything that I had written was not only was factual, but was also up to date. The first aid stuff that's suggested in that is also what is based on the findings of Canal et al., which was based on the use of elasticized compression bandages as opposed to using crepe bandages and stuff like that. Since that's come out, there's been a paper that has significantly changed snakebite first aid in that it's giving recommendations to pressure for legs versus arms versus chest, recommends an actual type of bandage now. So there's all these changes that have happened since that. So I've got a fuck up list for that book as well. So, I misspelt Bitoquatus in the book.
Oh, really? Giant error. Yeah.
No. It's like repeated like 6 times in there, and like one person goes up to me and goes, "Oh, did you know you misspelt that?" And I'm like, "Oh, fuck."
I'm just gonna throw my copy away.
I think
blame it on that spell check. Correct all.
Yeah. Well, the way I figure it is like, well, hang on. There was other fucking peer reviewers that missed this fucker as well.
Yeah, exactly. And look, really, honestly, it's for me one of the best things about it is how it's split into 2. So kind of all your general keeping and all of that at the start, and then you go into specifics for basically each individual species or genus if they're housing requirements or keeping requirements are similar enough. And those are both in split as well in wild and in captivity. So there's wild observations as well. Absolutely phenomenal, man. Look, if anybody out there is keen to get into keeping Australian venomous snakes, that is the book for you. Where can people get this at the moment still?
Online.
Track it down, guys.
Track it down online.
Yeah.
The one thing quickly with it that I really liked about it, there's a couple things I tried to get in there. One thing, there's a whole section on how to get snakes eating.
Okay, yes.
Yeah, right? There's actually like a step-by-step guide, which is perfectly applicable to pythons and stuff like that as well.
Yeah.
So that's one thing that I really liked in there. And then the other thing as well is that by having the wild stuff and the captive stuff, it actually gives some guidelines there, you know. And there's more than one way to skin a cat. So that's the other thing that needs to be remembered. This is the way that I've done it and the way that's worked for me. Other people can do it different ways.
Yeah.
So
it's not. The methods in there aren't the only way to do it. Yeah, absolutely.
And especially for the smaller Elapids, there is not a lot out there in the literature on how to do a lot of these things. And for me personally, I went around and talked to a lot of people, and like I said, I got told a different way every single time, if not being told to just not bother because it was too hard. And that's probably my favourite part of the book, was the fact that it actually gives you, this is how you can do it.
Well, this is how I did it. It doesn't mean to say it's the right way, but that's how I did it.
Well, it worked for me as well. So there's two
excellent.
people.
That's a good start.
Well, look,